Hello, Myra. How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Welcome. How are you feeling today?
Doing pretty good today.
You doing pretty good today?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're not nervous? Your first session, nothing like that?
I know what's expected. I have been to therapy before, but
Okay.
I didn't go through with it all the way.
Okay. Did you like your last experience in therapy or anything like that, or was there some things that you didn't like?
Mm, I liked it because it opened a door for me that I've never opened before,
Mhm.
personally. But at the same time, I didn't enjoy the experience because the counselor themselves,
Yeah.
we really didn't connect.
Okay.
I don't know if he was because he was a man or of his background, but I just wish the connection was there so I could open up a bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing. So that does kind of help me open the door to like other ways that I could help you. Okay. So before we start, I do want to start off with some confidentiality and things like that because I feel like that's some important things for you to know.
Yeah.
So, of course, if this is a safe space, I want you to feel comfortable to share with me whatever it is that you're dealing with, whatever it is that you want to work on, so we can set goals. But of course, if there's ever something where you're gonna hurt yourself, you're gonna hurt someone else, or you're in danger or something like that, by law I would have to report that. Of course I would try and let you know if I can, as soon as I can, but just so you know, if it's anything like that, I would have to report it, of course, for your safety and other people's safety.
Of course.
Any
Yes.
questions on that? No. Okay, so what brings you in? Like, what is it that you would like to work on, or maybe something that's been going on that you would like to talk about?
I guess I'm very overwhelmed.
Okay, so you're feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, overwhelmed in the sense of a lot is expected out of me, even for myself. Like I expect a lot from myself. I am working. I am coming to an end with my contract, so
Okay.
that is bringing me some kind of worry. It's kind of hard right now trying to find a job.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it that you're working in?
I do work as a lead housing case manager.
Okay.
So I'm in charge of case managers as well as data reporting.
Okay.
Have to make sure that my case managers are communicating well with their clients, making sure there's no disrespect, everything's getting done. But at the same time, I have to report all the data that they submitted to my supervisor so they can report to the state.
Okay. So it is a lot of work and a lot of state kind of things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you saying that you're overwhelmed, it's more because of your contract ending?
I would say yeah. They're really not helping us, find another job.
Oh.
Because I'm a third party organization, and they said we could help you, like we could refer, we could be a reference, sorry, but they're not really adamant about, oh yeah, say that you worked for Catholic Charities. They emphasize that you worked for the third party, you worked for Catholic Charities from them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of harder to build on that on your own, and that's what's frustrating you, or right?
More of like también they're expecting way too much from us. And it is coming to an end. They have stated that senioritis is very real, and I do agree.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like working in case management. You're gonna help people who come to you when they're ready. Right? I don't want to obligate anyone, and right now it's more of an obligation to try to go find people. Like we've already stated at the shelter that I work at, that we're not going to be here after the 26th. If you are ready, because we know this is a big leap coming out of a shelter and getting an apartment on your own, like is very difficult for them. And I'm very much about whenever they're ready, I'll help them as much as I can and fast as I can.
Right. So it seems that there's also kind of like that personal connection on helping those people with all that frustration that you're feeling of already your contract ending and having to get a job.
Yeah.
Correct? And that's normal, of course, because that's already too much on your plate. You're already having to deal with getting the job, having to deal with, you know, leaving everything, and then, you know, if you have built relationships with these people you're helping, now it's kind of like you have to go, and you don't really have that choice because you're under contract.
Yeah.
So your frustration is normal. You know, it is normal for you to feel that way. Have you thought of, you know, some possible things that you can do after? You know, what are some things that you would be interested in working in after? Do you want to stay within that realm of like case manager, or is there other things that you would like to do?
I would like to stick to case management. I'd like I don't know what the best word would be, but customer service, like helping people. Whether that be in case management or, you know, even being cashier, whatever it might be. Just, you know, being a person that they could go to for help. So I have been looking at case management jobs, but as well as possibly doing something in a school. I do want to pursue school counseling. I am in grad school.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's good. So you know, and that's a good thing that you know kind of what you want to stick to. You know that you enjoy helping people, and of course, going back to what you're doing, that's probably why it's hard for you to leave as well, because you're building that relationship. That's also what you want to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. But of course, it's also seeing, and not going back to what you're doing right now, not being hard on yourself because that contract is not really in your control, the ending of it. You know, you foreseen that, you know, eventually that was going to end, and there's not that, you know, there's not a lot that you could possibly do. You get what I'm saying? So kind of using that, seems like you want to keep using that urge to help people and finding your next job, right? So you're saying you're interested in like case managing again, customer service jobs, or potentially school. What year in grad school are you in?
My second semester.
You are in your second semester. Yeah. Okay, so still fresh, but are you interested in, you know, getting more experience in a school setting more than anything?
I do. It is difficult to go into a school setting. I do have to get my license. Obviously, I prioritize my job right now.
Right.
Trying to end that. So probably take the week after, you know, the job ends. See if I can get my substitute license or some kind of license to work at a school.
Yeah.
Because I do want to work with the adolescent demographic.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good thing that you already know kind of what demographic you want to work in, what it is that you want to do. And that, you know, you have that plan that right now you want to focus on what it is that you could still do with this job and help those people that, you know, you're servicing at the moment. And then just, you know, using that week that, you know, once you're done with that job to focus on what are your next steps. What do you think that... So you know you want to get your sub license if you potentially do work in a school. Okay. Are you anxious to work in a school, or do you feel like that is probably like your best?
I am a very anxious person. Okay. So whenever it comes to anything, I overthink a lot. I'm very anxious. I really do want to go into a school. I guess it's more of how the kids are going to be.
Right.
Yeah. Honestly, you know, coworkers or like, you know, admin, whoever works at the school, there's always going to be issues at work, but you know, it's something that you can work with, and you know, but the main goal, my main goal is to help the kids out, you know.
Right. How would you say is the relationship that you have at your current job right now? Like, do you feel... Because it's kind of like, from what I could tell, it's like you have to leave. You have to, you're under contract, right? Yeah. But how are you feeling, you know, emotionally about having to leave?
I'm not really big into change, so I don't like change. But at the same time, I'm glad this project lasted as long as it did. but I think it's time for a new start because management wasn't really the best. It wasn't ideal. I mean, I'm part of leadership, so I always try to make sure my team is well. Anyone who asks me for advice or assistance, I'm there. But, you know, making sure your team is good, you know, that assures you that you're going to be good.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was kind of starting to get rocky?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So do you feel like that kind of makes you feel a little bit more ready to leave?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is like that because it's kind of like, and I'm very glad that you see it as an open opportunity that, you know, this contract is ending. You know, that's where you have to start looking at the way things go and the positive aspects of things because, you know, yes, your contract is ending and of course, like, you build all these relationships with people. But it's also like, you know, you're going into grad school and you want to work with children and then, you know, your contract's ending now. Management wasn't that great. But how can you use, you know, some of those negative aspects to move forward for your next steps? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you already know that you would want to work somewhere where management, or if it's a school, you know, you're advising or, you know, your admin is more supportive with you and with the children.
Yeah.
Have you looked at any places particularly, or are you still in between that case managing customer service schooling?
I'm in between.
Okay.
I want something a little bit more easy on the mind is what I tell myself.
Okay.
Because, you know, juggling working 40 hours and going to school was a lot. I'm not gonna lie. The past semester and a half, because we're in the middle of it, is draining.
Yeah,
it is draining.
Yeah.
So I think if I were able to find a job that's low key, but still I can climb my way up, I would enjoy.
You would enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would like for you to, you know, as we continue this process and everything, and of course, you know, as you do your research, any single time you find something that you might want to build on. So let's say you do find a job, but you're probably still scared because it seems that you still have some maybe fears into what it is that you can do. But it also seems like you have it pretty, you know that you want something chill, or, you know, you want to start off and move up the ladder. And that's very good because you know where you want to start off at and you know what you want to keep doing. You know, so is there any other aspects that maybe keep you from wanting to do certain things? Any other life aspects or anything like that are going on that might make you a little bit more scared to maybe go directly into teaching, or, you know, into case managing? Or what are basically your deal breakers? Like, I cannot go into a job that's like this, but I can go into a job that's like this. Kind of having those two of, this is a yes, this is a no.
Great question. Oh, I'm basically the kind of person that whatever I'm thrown into is, you know, I just work myself around what is there already presented. Maybe that's a bad aspect about myself because I always get thrown into stuff. But, I mean, I feel like at the end of the day that has helped me grow as a person. I like challenges.
Okay.
But yes, I am anxious. I do get very nervous about it.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, do you feel like that connects to your anxiety that you feel in the workplace and how comfortable you feel in the workplace? Or do you feel like it might hinder like your true potential? Like, it might take away of what you can do because you're just thrown into it?
I would say the first option.
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of leadership. I am a lead. I threw myself into it because I saw that, you know, I like the job that I'm doing, but, you know, seeing other people struggle with their leads, knowing that, you know, maybe I can be a better person for them. And I liked it. I liked the responsibility. I liked caring for others. well, you know, my case managers were caring for other people too.
So, you know, you want to be the lead. You want to be up there. You want to help others. What are some fears that you could potentially have, or things that are just like a no-go? Because it's also good sometimes to kind of have like, I know I would like to do this, but I also know that I would not want to work in this kind of environment. So then that way you know what you're looking for. Because it is kind of a anxious process of, especially nowadays, like having to find that job. You're pressured because you know every single day you're a day closer to that end of contract, correct? Yeah. So it's just kind of like, what are my yeses, what are my nos, and how can I build around that to find something that I feel comfortable in, that will help me pursue that career that I want to, and will give me that experience and open doors for me.
I guess the biggest thing right now is just failure. Failure, like, I already got rejected from 2 jobs.
But that's normal, you know. Everyone kind of, I went through a period like that where, you know, fresh out of undergrad, applying for all these jobs and like rejected. Yeah. You know, it's perfectly normal, especially I feel like nowadays, you know, it's normal for things to happen like that. Do you feel like once you experience that rejection, are you hard on yourself about it?
Back then, yeah. I used to be worse, like I was shut down completely. Right now, about these jobs, I was like, it just happened, right? Like, it is what it is. Maybe it wasn't meant for me. I let it go. But I guess it's the fear of, you know, when the contract ends, I don't have anything to go off by. Like, I need to start job hunting, like, fast.
Right.
But then I still have to prioritize school.
So we have failure, that's your fear, right? But then we also have balance.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there might be a connection between fear and balance? If things aren't balanced, what is likely to happen? Failure. Correct. So like, we need to figure out how can we balance these things so that you won't fail. And the word failure is like really scary. Like if you hear like, oh, fail, or you know, you got in school and you failed, but with failure comes learning experiences as well, right? So I just want to put that out there so you don't have this negative correlation of fear if it ever did happen, because you could always learn from it. But before we get to the aspect of failure, we need to get to the aspect of balance. So how can we balance, you know, what it is, your priorities, school, work, right? School counseling, correct? Work, all right? What do you feel like takes more of your day or more of your energy at the moment, like with your job right now? School or work?
Both.
They're both the same.
Yeah.
So there's that balance of what's stressing me out.
I'm at work, I'm thinking about school. I'm at school, I'm thinking about work.
Do you ever stop and think that you need to put more, you know, time and thought into you so you are able to balance those things? Because let's say if you're just working, which is, you know, sadly how it is sometimes nowadays, working in school. But where is the you? You said I'm at work thinking of school, I'm at school thinking of work, but where does Myra, you yourself, fall into this? Like, what it is that you like, what it is that you want to do, what it is that you're doing to self-care of yourself. Where does that fall into that? No.
Pretty low.
Pretty low. Okay. What does when was the last time you did something to self-care for yourself? During now this whole semester and a half that you've been in school and
a month ago.
A month ago. Okay. How often do you wish you could do something self-care related?
Maybe by the end of the week.
By the end of the week?
Yeah. At least something.
Something.
Yeah.
Okay. So we do have to kind of find that balance, and that balance cannot happen if you are not okay, because you're in the middle of that balance. Okay, you not being able to work there. Okay, so we are kind of coming to the end of the session, and I don't want to just end it like that. Okay, but how are you feeling right now? As we're talking about, you know, how everything just kind of correlates back to another. So it's the frustration, what you want, school, the balance, self-care, because if you're not okay, then of course everything will feel like it's falling on you. So how are you feeling with?
I guess it makes sense. It's a little bit more clear. Maybe I should be thinking about myself a little bit more instead of just go.
But sometimes that's, it's okay for you. I don't want you to feel bad because you're just thinking go. That's just sometimes our response to things, or we have to go, we need another job, we need money, we need this, which is normal because you're an adult, and sometimes it is going to be like that, you know what I mean? So I would want, because probably will happen where you're going to be thinking about what you talked about today and everything like that. So for the next session, just kind of think about what are some interests that you would like to look into more deeply. If you do still continue to look for jobs, because I'm pretty sure from what I could tell you probably will, you're getting closer to the end of your contract. So what are some things that also, more importantly, you are doing to balance all that stress? Because if you're just coming home from work and you finally have free time, you're just job looking for all the hours that you have before you go to bed, waking up, then going back to work. What are you doing for you to balance that for Myra? Okay, some self-care things. So try to incorporate some self-care, even if that's taking yourself out to get a coffee, going to get your nails done, or anything like that. Okay, and then we can talk about how you're feeling, or what you found next week when we meet up. Sounds good?
Yep.
All right, Myra. Hope you have a great week.
Thank you.
Okay, that's fine.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Jennifer, right?
Yes.
Awesome. My name is Myra. I'll be your therapist. Hopefully we'll have a great connection. I want to start off with some confidentiality. I want to make sure that you understand what's going to be talked about within this room, that nothing's going to go out of this room. Understand that if you do state some concerns, whether that being causing self-harm or causing harm to others, just know that by law I do have to report that.
Okay.
My priority is safety, yours, mine, and everyone else's around you.
Okay.
Understood?
Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate it.
Of course. So let's just start off with how are you feeling today, and what brings you in, or what do you want to talk about?
I feel like I have a lot going on right now. I do know that I would like to work more on balancing things and kind of just working on a lot of like family things and how that like affects how I think sometimes. I would say that recently something that pushed me to come to therapy is that I am getting married soon.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I feel like lately it's just been like a lot on my plate. I am getting married, like I said. I'm in grad school. I'm a teacher, and then there's like a lot of unnecessary like family drama going on that I feel like just does not help the situation like at all as well. So I would say like all that is just compiled into like one big pile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever catch yourself, overthinking about, that family situation that's happening, the family trauma?
I will say that lately with the whole wedding thing, I have found myself kind of overthinking about it a lot, just because, like, obviously since you're like a little kid, like you see as the wedding as like, oh, like your family's there and it's like this whole big thing, and then it's like I have all this family drama. So it's like I feel like lately I have been thinking a lot about it, and it's been like frustrating a lot.
I can understand why you feel frustrated. A very special day to you. You know, it's not. Your family isn't concerned about your feelings. They're only concerned about theirs.
Mm-hmm.
When the idea should be, you know, it's your wedding day. You and your spouse, your future spouse.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Have you tried to talk to them about the situation, or do you just, you know, want to stay clear of it and just get through it?
So it's with my brother that with my brother that the whole thing is with, and he's kind of like my only brother that I'm like very close to.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, just kind of like a whole thing. Like I didn't want to help them co-sign a car. They got mad. Now they don't want to come to my wedding, and it's just kind of like, it was right after like our grandmother had passed away, so I was just kind of like not wanting to help them. They're very responsible with their money. Definitely didn't want to help them. I did communicate with them that, you know, like, hey, I don't feel comfortable right now doing that. I don't think it's the right time to do it. Obviously, like, you know, I'm trying to get married, so like I'm in grad school, so I have student loans. I'm getting married, so I'm trying to get a house, and it's just kind of like I communicated that I didn't want to let, you know, my credit go down or something because of them. They, I guess, took that the wrong way, and so I did communicate to them. I apologize if I made them feel wrong, but it's just like they're still like, no, we're not going.
I'm going to take the guess that your brother is younger than you, right?
No, my brother's actually older than me.
Your brother's older?
Yeah, which is crazy. Yes, he's older than me.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely understand your frustration.
Yeah.
I see that you do have goals prioritized for your future with your spouse. Very, very complex situation, right?
Yeah. It's just very, sometimes like, it makes me feel kind of lonely or like angry because it's like, really, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you ever struggle with, you know, something simpler back in the day with your brother like this? Like, was he always hard-headed like this? Like, wanting to make sure that he's taken care of first and then you?
Yeah, I mean, with my brother, I feel like, so context, we don't have the same dad. He is my half brother.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad did pass away, so like I always saw him as like my brother as my dad figure.
Mm-hmm.
But once I started dating, I did notice that he started kind of like attacking me more. So like, let's say like one time I got like a medal because I was in cross country, and I got a medal, and he didn't talk to me for like a week instead of being like, oh, congrats. So I would say that a lot of times, if it's something where it shows my success, he gets like upset.
Okay.
And I see that very often.
Yeah. Jealousy, it sounds like.
Yeah. He's not gonna say that though, but I and my mom see it as, yeah, jealousy.
Okay. You have to be proud of yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do understand that it hurts.
Yeah.
Because he is your family.
Mm-hmm.
Although he is a stepbrother, at the end of the day, you grew a bond with him. You guys grew up together. So that bond is established.
Right.
There's going to be moments where, they're going to be jealous of, your certain successes, vice versa. Maybe you get jealous of him sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something important that, communication. Now that you are older, growing up, it could be the simplest of things that you guys argue about, but growing up things get harder. Like you said, car, like trying to sign for a car. Maybe he's going through a difficult time and he relies on you and he wants you to help him, but he has to realize that you are establishing your little family now, and you're trying to become better, trying to grow as a couple, just grow in general. It might take time for him to realize that it's gonna hurt. Maybe there's gonna be moments where don't talk to each other as often.
Yeah.
But I know weddings can cause a lot of commotions.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Right. Yeah.
Not only the time, but as well as the money. And them seeing physically, putting in all this effort, buying so much stuff, they're like, oh, what's so much more that they can spare? So don't be so hard on yourself. Sometimes people can only realize or focus on what they can see and not what's behind the scenes.
Right. And I do think that actually, like, going off on that, I do think that sometimes they think that I got it all figured out just because he didn't even graduate high school. So I feel like a lot of times there's been points where they think just because I have a degree and I'm a teacher that, like, I have money or I got it all together, and it's like, I don't. Like, I'm probably struggling just as much as you are, but he don't got a job or anything like that either, and he has all these kids. So it's kind of like that frustrates me as well. It's kind of like I work hard for what I want and what I would like to have, and he doesn't, and it's just like like I said, like he expects me to drop everything and like risk everything to help him, and it's like I can't do that, especially not now, Yeah.
Well, maybe seeing you at your age, as you said, he is older, seeing you at your age and so much that you've accomplished, maybe he is feeling a little bit of like, wow, maybe if I did dedicate myself or focus on my goals at an earlier age, maybe he could have accomplished the same as you, or even a little bit more, being able to provide for his family as much as he wants to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I did, I know he did tell my mom something like that, like, oh, that, which I'm not like the kind of person to boast about what I have, but he does tell my mom, like, oh, that I probably think I'm better than them because of everything I have. So I do know that there's probably like some jealousy, like you said, or like, some emotions and stuff, but it's like I don't do that with harm. Like, I'm just doing that because I know what I want. But it still goes back to like, just I wish that he could see that, and I wish that he could be that older brother that I wish I had. Yeah.
Have you ever tried to say that to him? That, you want him to be an older brother to you?
I have, and there's like other things too where like he just gets so defensive. Like, he gets so defensive, and like he just kind of like, no, like, or he just doesn't pay attention, or he'll just find a way to make it where like everyone is the bad guy, but not him.
Well, it seems that he is going through something as well.
Yeah. No, I think so. I do try and talk to him about that. Like, hey, maybe like, you should go to therapy. But then obviously, like, at least like in the Hispanic culture, like a lot of men are very like against that.
Yes.
Sadly. And it's like, it's not bad,
I think it takes a lot for, men in the Hispanic culture to, find a breaking point for them and realize that, I do want to change. Maybe it is time for me to go open up with someone. Because it takes a lot for, in the Hispanic culture, it's not easy for them to open up, with a significant other or even a cousin, because then they think they're going to get judged. Yeah.
Or like, the term machismo. I think he's very like machista too, and I feel like that goes with like the whole his pride of like, oh, you didn't help me, now I'm not going to your wedding. Like, it's just like he gives very much the machista.
It is a very difficult mindset to get out of. Growing up with it, if you if you do get exposed to it, I guess would be the right word to use, for so long and so often, and that's all you know, then it does consume you, because you do get consumed with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just kind of like with that frustration of me still wishing he was there, I'm just having a hard time with the feelings of, I guess, accepting that he is not going to be there. Because with him not being there, it's also like my nephews won't be there, and I like love them. So it's just kind of like deterioration, I guess, that I feel sometimes. Like, I don't want to let it ruin my day, especially with my wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like, damn,
yeah.
You know?
I can understand that, yeah. Well, it seems family is very important to you.
Mm-hmm. Right? Well, yeah, because I didn't really have, like, much family growing up. Mm-hmm. And he was always, and, like, his kids, my nephews, were, like, my family. Like, that was my close family. So now it's just kind of, like, on the biggest day of my life, like, you're not there.
I could see that. I could see that, you know, you prioritizing helping them all this time, and then the moment that you need them the most, they're not there. Mm-hmm. Or they're claiming not to be there. You know, when maybe there's going to be a moment in between now and the wedding day that, you know, you guys will talk about what's happening, and maybe he'll come to the realization and like, wow, you know, my sister, I saw her grow up. How can I miss this? Like, especially my kids not being there either, getting to witness that. But is there anything else that makes you feel a certain way, or anything else that you want to talk about that correlates to the wedding?
I just feel like it's more that, I guess, kind of just like thinking of some things that I could do to help with that, because like I said, like I don't really have much family, and my fiance does, so it's just kind of seeing that all his family's there and they're all pretty cool, and then it's like me, you know. So I guess that is something that I would want to work on.
I could definitely see that. Well, let's slowly wrap this up. You brought some very good points today. Thank you for opening up and sharing this information with me. What I would like you to do for the next session is try to talk to yourself. I understand that you do want your brother to be there. I can understand that he's part of your family. He's very important to you. And now that you stated that, you know, your fiance has a very big family, and then there's only so much of your side. Having, you know, understanding that, you know, the person that you're going to get married to is going to be your family at the end of the day. You're going to be establishing new connections, new people, bringing in maybe your own people into this world. I guess really focusing on yourself and what you want to
like do.
Do, yes.
It's okay. That happens to me too.